I think we're live. Fantastic. So I managed off stream to fix the problem I was having last time. Um, Rather surprisingly, I just ran through the same steps again. So previously, we were trying to install Rust up and then run this wasm pack command. And for some reason, it wasn't finding the right libraries in the right place, but it now seems to. So hopefully, I haven't bodged it somehow. Although now I'm looking, I might have moved some files into a particular spot. Let's see how we go anyway. So at the moment, we've actually managed to get the website running locally, which is great. Let's just have a look at the live site as well. See the difference. They look broadly speaking the same. Although I bet on this screen, you guys can't really see this. So let me zoom in a bit. Let's go for like 150. 150 zoom. Shout in chat if you spot any problems with font sizes. By the way, I'm going to try and keep everything as readable as possible. But yeah, do shout if there's any issues. And just going to follow chat. There we go. Fantastic. So I think I've confirmed that this works. So steps 1, 2, and 3 work. We ditched this install command. No, we didn't. We changed it. Sorry. And we ran this as well last time. And this seemed to have worked. So I think what I'm going to do is save this. Let's commit this. We didn't need to run that either. That wasn't the command we needed to run. And we've ditched the deploy. I guess we can ignore that. So confirmed setup steps now work. Great. And that's strange. I must have just missed that. Let me undo that. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to do, right? Don't include that. So confirm setup steps now work. And we can say removed the deploy section because this is now handled. This is now master branch of Travis CI. Boom. Apparently that works as well. Let me commit this for now. Latest folder path for Big Prime's library. Great. Push that. And then what we should see, I mosey on over to GitHub. We should see. Oh, of course, I'm actually going to need to log in, which is a bit tricky on this machine. Let me do that. I will be back in just a moment. Maybe 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes. He says. No, 5 minutes. I reckon I can do that. So I suspect that's going to come through as a lot of background noise at the moment. Be interesting to see how that pans out. I'll watch this back afterwards. So one of the problems I've got at the moment is it takes so long for things to actually build on here. This is going to take like 10 or 15 minutes at least. Hey, can you guys, can someone let me know in chat like how the audio is at the moment? Because this is probably the worst background noise I've ever had, and I want to see how this microphone's handling it. I think at the very least the noise gate cutoff is happening, so you can see here. You can see here we don't. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We don't have any background noise unless I'm speaking. That's one savior, one saving grace, I guess. So still waiting for this to build. I'd be interested to see actually if let's have a look if this is getting on nice and quickly. No, see, this happened last time as well. This is something else we need to look into. So if I go to say stable, we can see that it started compiling. It's run through packages. It's building a bunch of dependencies. There's like about 90 or 100 dependencies for this project. But if we look at the nightly build, it's just somewhat slower. I haven't yet figured out why. I think it must be to do with some additional download or something that it's doing as part of the nightly build, but that's just pure guesswork at the moment. I haven't done anything to test it. But yeah, it's not moving, not doing anything. Maybe we can get these side by side. How's the font size for everybody? Got a message off of someone, so give me a bit of feedback on the audio, which is good. And some feedback on the font size. Sounds like it's too small. I think we'll go with 150% zoom then. That's got to be pretty readable. Just checking chat, see what we're seeing. Looks like we had someone spam us in the chat. And this still hasn't moved, look at this. I can't believe that it spent all this time creating a directory. At least we can see this one moving. Go back up here. Guess as well I can check and see how long it's taken previous pull requests. So if I go to pull request 5, that took, wow, 31 minutes for the nightly, 9 minutes for the beta and the stable. So I guess if the beta and the stable work, then we're reasonably sure the nightly will build. And then we can actually get this change live. But yeah, we've still got a couple of minutes to go. Beta seems to have started slightly earlier, so let's see where that's up to. Hidden a bunch of lines because it's got really far. That's good. So yeah, this is when it was compiling all the dependencies. And now we can see. I think I might fix this next. This is something I should have fixed a while ago. There's a function in there. I took a bunch of data. Let me just show you actually. That would be hidden away. I think it's under archive. One of these, this one? Yeah, so I think what that's complaining about. See if I can snap these windows, that'd be pretty neat. If I snap this one over here. Ooh, okay. So yeah, it complains that this function was in discovery dates. This function's never called. It's just warning me there's some dead code, but actually further down we've got hard-coded dates in here that it would be better for me to call this function. In fact, it'd be better to take out all of this hard-coded string and turn it into a simple loop. Probably reduce it down to about 10 lines of code. And then call upon this function and this function, which would get rid of this error and probably knock about, oh, I don't know, 300, 350, 400 lines of code out of this file, massively simplifying it. Perhaps we can tackle that one next. But we gotta wait for this to finish building first. Okay, so this is Rust Nightly. So this is the one that we know is going to be slow. This is getting a bit further along now. It's got past that pause. And this is the beta. Oh, the beta might be done. Okay, let's go back. Cool, we've got a green tick next beta. That's fantastic. So that probably means our code will compile on stable and nightly. Rarely does one. I can't think of a single occasion where one has one's not worked. Maybe today will be that day. I don't know why I kind of compulsively refresh as if that's going to make it go faster. It's really not. See how stable is doing. Again, it's it's complaining over and over about this this one function that I should replace. In fact, that's about 10 lines of logging for times whatever that is, 5 times, just for that one function that doesn't get used. So we've got unit tests as well, which are good. And Nightly's making its way through these dependencies now. Just going to see what's going on in chat. Not much. Everyone's being quite quiet. Nothing wrong with that. Sorry guys, I'm literally just checking just checking incoming chats. Someone just sent me a private message saying they have no idea about coding. That's fine. That's not necessarily why you might watch this. We've got bright pastel colours. In fact, I bet this font size over here is too small. Let's sort that out. You know what? I thought I could just maybe hold one of the control buttons, zoom in and zoom out with the mouse wheel. Apparently that's not a thing. It's probably something a bit more complicated. Like we might actually have to set the font size. Maybe that's under appearance. Zoom in and zoom out. I have to do the control and the equals button to zoom in. Control and equals. Boom, we've zoomed in. Great time to see pastel colours. This is still compiling. I wonder if that other, let's go back, see if, okay, we've got a green tick next to stable, so that's 2 out of 3. Nightly will actually do the deploy as well, which is great news. Not that it will make any difference to the Big Prime's website, because we just updated a README. That doesn't actually make any material difference. What is this? Maybe we can do something whilst we're waiting for this to build, compile. What's going on over here? The remote WSL extension is recommended as you have Windows Linux subsystem installed. Alright, give that an install then. 878,000 downloads of this plugin, so it's probably alright. Although only 18 users have bothered to give it a rating. That's pretty astonishing, actually. What's that like? Oh, maths is failing me. That's like 40,000 to 1 or something. 40 something thousand people, or 40 something thousand downloads to every rating. Yes, developers aren't big on rating things. Ooh, by downloading and using this Visual Studio Remote WSL extension and its components, you agree to the product. Oh, that's an ill-placed arrow, isn't it? License terms. I am not going to read license terms on stream, but oh, it's a Microsoft one. Well, I'm already using Microsoft Windows in part, so oh, hang on a second. It's already installed. Why would it not think it's installed then? Do I need to configure it? So installation, install VS Code. Well, we've got that. This entire code on editor is VS Code. Or VS Code Insiders, which I'm not using to my knowledge. We've got Windows Subsystem installed. That's a thing. We're already using it. I'm using it here. Consider adding a Git attributes file to your repos or disabling automatic line ending conversion for Git. So I think I'm already doing this. I'm pretty sure I've changed my my Git config so that it automatically converts all line endings to Linux line endings. Otherwise, you get the return and the new line character from Windows, and then Linux looks at that and gets very confused. Or rather, it doesn't get confused, it just shows them on the editor and I get confused. It's just a bit of background noise for a moment. So there's a quick start. What's this? So remote quick access. Is that like this thing here? Oh! Okay, I think I just did something. Starting... yeah, sure. I don't mind it running Node locally, that's fine. Cool, okay, so I guess this is now talking to the files as though they're on Linux, as in these files here. So if I go into one of these pages, let's say we're going to the mersenne page. I mean, it works, it's still there. And at least now it's giving me... Oh, okay, that's pretty neat. So before, I think my Git plugin wasn't working. And now it is, unless this is part of the WSL plugin. Anyway, I digress. We're getting sidetracked. Is this built yet? No. "17 minutes. It's a long time. Just gonna check chat. You know what I should do actually? I should get chat up on a screen that I can see. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Just gonna do that. And really hope that this machine's muted or we're gonna get some wicked feedback. No, we're good. I should not have looked at that other screen, just like looking over there for 2 moments and I already sidetracked myself. Right, still waiting for this to compile. I wish it would give us like a, you know, a 4 out of 10 or something, or 95 out of 100 of the way through these packages. I forget which file we actually edited now. I think it was a README file, wasn't it? That one. Cool. How's the everything? How is everything for people in chat? You know, font size is still good. I think we've nailed those now. Stream quality good. I think we've nailed that now. Sound comes and goes. No complaints. Oh, here we go. So now we're compiling. Now it's actually getting to the interesting part of the compile. So now it's finally compiling our code rather than well, it was, and now it's gone back to compiling dependencies. But it'll compile these pretty quick because it's now cached them. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's the problem. I wonder if stable and beta are quite happily using some caches because they're stable and beta, right? They don't change very often. But I wonder if the first build of each day on nightly is going to be this slow. So maybe the second one will be more in the 10-minute range. That'd be great. That's the case. Yes, some of these are a bit slower than the others. Yeah, I do wish. Maybe I guess I could probably add that as a feature, right? If there's not already a flag I could put on some of these commands, maybe I can add that, or put in a pull request at some point to add that to a feature to cargo. That'd be a big day for me, but not one for today. So I did have, go back to the other pull requests. So if we look, whenever this was 3 days ago, it took 31 minutes to compile nightly. If I go back to the 4th pull request, 31 minutes. I think this is nearly 32. This is fairly consistent, 32 minutes. But I guess each of those are on the same day, so that completely throws my my caching theory out the window. Go. That can't be right. Ah, there we go. Head back over to here. It's gonna be another 10 minutes, everyone. What are we gonna do for 10 minutes? We've installed all our plugins. There's not much else to do over here. No errors being thrown at me. I guess we could presume that that's going to be fine, so we could switch to another branch and do something else. So what have we got going on over here? We've got, oh, there's loads of things. I added robots. I've done that already. Pretty sure we merged that. Maybe I can kill off some of these local branches. What am I trying to do? Pull requests. Hang on a minute, that's got a green tick. So maybe we could merge this one. I'll do that from this other screen. Actually, I'm going to go in. I'm going to let's tidy some of this up. Going into the pull requests on the other machine. Just going into the robots one, same as we've got over here. So we can see. All I did, like, it's the most simple file change, right? All I did was add a robots.txt to the website. So if we go there now, we should see that it's not there. Probably, yeah. So whenever it can't find a file, it always just shows the home page. So in this case, again, file's not there. So it's gonna do that. It's just gonna show the home page. I'm gonna merge this pull request from another machine. Doing that now. So in theory, we go back, hit refresh. Okay, that's showing as merged. And then got to keep track of all the things that are going on here, but let's bring this out. Yeah, so now we've got two builds going on. Right, we've got the improved README, which we know is going to run for like another 10 minutes or so. We can see that here. It's doing good things. No completely fatal errors or anything so far. And then I've just merged in the robots.txt change, because might as well do two things at the same time. Let the computers do all the work. And that's going to again run all of these stable betas and nightly. I think, you know what, that could change. I was doing some work the other day, I think I streamed it, where, at the risk of confusing myself, I'm going to open a fourth window, where I was looking at, yeah, here it is. I was looking at adding a separate deploy phase. So the idea would be that when you do a pull request, stable beta and nightly would run, and when it's done, it would then do a separate. Well, no, it wouldn't actually. So for the pull request, it would do these, sorry, and it wouldn't do the deploy. And so then when I merge, it's a quick 2-minute job instead of well, in this case, it would be 23 minutes again. I think we should do that next for our own sanity. Someone says, "What's the aim of today's session?" Yeah, that's a good question. What do we need? Do we need learning objectives? Is that what we need? That's the thing now, isn't it? We set out learning objectives at the beginning of exercises. Well, when I started, I think the first thing I wanted to do was just get the local test working, which I actually managed to do off stream. So, so now I can surf around the website locally, which is great. It means when we do develop something, we don't have to faff around, obviously. But that was done off stream, so that worked. Sorted out all the different issues that we were facing. People couldn't see the fonts. I think we've squashed all of that now. I thought it'd be good now to make some live changes to the site, so let's just check we can do that and that's working properly. So I guess in a minute, I mean, it's not going to be a minute, sorry everyone, it's going to be in 28 minutes. Wow. We can see that this robots.txt change goes through. And I guess once that's in, we'll have proved to ourselves we've got a local development environment that works. We'll have proved to ourselves that we can make deployable changes to the site. So the next bit, I guess we could either write some code and actually make some changes. Perhaps whilst all of this is running, I could start a third thing going at the same time. How do I get rid of this? So do I have to push escape? Yes. Let's which we could do actually. Let's do that. If I switch to master, And then, so I've never used this interface before. This is quite nice. Normally I do everything via the GitHub desktop app, but this is much nicer. So we can create a new branch. We're in master, so it's going to create a new branch from master. Let's just check there's no code changes that we need to pull down. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not going to push. I don't think we're allowed to. Would you like code to periodically run git fetch? Yeah, that'd be great. Then I don't have to click that button. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, I guess we could get rid of that annoying function. That's the thing we could do. Please provide a branch name. I could call it get rid of the annoying function. That doesn't feel like a very good name. Let's open up the right file. And we can say utilize. I guess we could utilize it. Correctly call. Yeah, let's try that. Great, so now we're on that branch. It's not that I don't trust this, but I don't quite trust this yet because it's my first time using it, so I just want to see what this reckons. Okay, so the Git app agrees that we're now on a branch with a different bunch of code. So I guess we want to check that our local changes will really happen in our local environment. So let's go to the mersennes page, which lists a whole bunch of mersenne primes. Exciting stuff. There's some layout stuff here we could fix as well. I really don't like that all these numbers are all over the place. Great. So let's do that first of all. Let's change something. So let's change one of the titles. So instead of saying prime, I'm going to say changed. Then I think we're going to have to recompile locally, which is fine. It's a lot faster than Travis. And look, it gives us a little thing to tell us how far along it is. Cool. So that's recompiled and set up a little local web server. Oh, I needed to see what I did there. I was looking at the live site when I went on this page, and I should have been looking at the local one. So that hasn't changed, and I've got a theory. I've got a theory as to why that is. So I think that's compiled all of our code to this package directory. Someone's saying there's a lot of background noise. Well, I can't do much about that, unfortunately. There's I need to do something about it, but I can't do anything about it. I'm really sorry. That's completely thrown me. Ah, yes. So package folder. So I think this is where it's compiling to. But sorry, the reason I'm slightly lost here is I'm expecting. Oh, there it is. The www. So I think one of these is powering the local web server. And I think one of these is where we're compiling to. Which is obviously a bit silly. Let's close this. And see if we can figure out which one it is. Why am I staring at this for so long and not seeing what I want to see? I'm expecting to see a www folder. Oh, I'm already in it. Oh, that's a horrible blue font. Can you guys even read that font? Or that colour, rather? I can't. I might change that in a minute. Yeah, so what we could do is if we move... I don't know, if we move anything inside of this package folder, we can find out if that breaks it. Let's move the whole folder. We could do that. Move package to package Craig. Don't package me. Right. Cannot move package to package Craig. Permission denied. Alright. Why is that then? This one of those weird Linuxy windows aren't really meant to play together things. Let's... Am I going to have to sudo? Maybe I need to do that sudo. This is where I try to remember my password. Okay, we're good. No, we're not. Uh-oh. Permission denied. But I did it as sudo. There is no higher power in Linux. Maybe it's permission denied because I'm currently using it. It's possible. And I wonder what happens in here if I make a change to it. Alright, can I go into this readme and type some stuff and then hit save? Does it freak out? And then if I have a look in this readme file. Ah! Oh no, that's a horrible noise. Oh, we need to do something about that. I never want to hear that again. Properties. Wow, if anyone can point me in the right direction, you know, we can't turn that sound off quick enough. I think it's like the Windows bell noise, isn't it, or something, or not fun, whatever it is. You know what? Can't see it here as an option. There's nothing here to do with sounds. Just for text, isn't it? Could probably do this. You know what? We could probably disable that in Windows settings. Maybe that's a thing we could do. Sound settings. Feels like it's gonna be a... Wow, it's been a while since I've had to do this in Windows. Oh, lots of... Alright, you know what, for the moment... No, I don't want any of that faff. Let's get rid of that. Let's come back. Okay, so I've just got to be really careful about what I type. So don't push tab. That's what we're saying here. Do not push tab. If I try autocomplete and it's not really there, then it's going to go badly. So that was ls. I guess we want to ls inside of the package directory. So let's view inside the package directory. I'm gonna have to push tab because I can't be bothered to push the buttons, and there we go. Good. Right, it exists. We didn't hear the bell noise. And I made a change in here. I can't remember where I did it. Oh, right there. I tell you what, it's gonna be a much better idea to add something to the end, because then if I cat this, we can see. Okay, so for whatever reason, we can make changes from within this editor. Fine. So I mean, that's what we want, right? So see if we can rename this from within the editor. Rename package 5. Huh. I feel like it may have ignored me, or maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I pushed some incorrect buttons. I pushed 5, and I'm going to push return. It ignores me. No warning, no error. Do we get, like, what's this? Can we see any? There's a log. Huh. Oh, isn't that nice? See our local IP address, and what do I do with this though? I was kind of hoping that it would at least give me an error. I mean, obviously if I do this a third time, it's going to make no difference. Let's try a different number. Why not? And the enter key instead of return. Yeah, no, nothing. Well, isn't that curious? Okay. But that might mean I can just drag all the stuff from here. Just copy that. This is a terrible way to develop, by the way. I'm just gonna. This is really just telling me if. Oh wow, and then it created them as copies. That's even worse. No, 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 no to all of that. Delete. Delete permanently. Copy, 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 and copy. Yes. Alright, well, can we create a new file? Do we have permission to do that? New file. Okay, so that it lets us do. So it's probably just the whole folder. That's okay. So let's delete the new file. So I think that means I can craft a copy command to take things from the package directory, boom, and copy them to. Oh no, we're already in the www. Yeah, 3 W's. So we want to be outside of that actually. So outside of the package directory, I'm going to hit tab. Hopefully it's no, dear, no, I don't like that sound. Side of here, minimize everything. Well, that looks good. Outside of 3 W's, because we're in the the World Wide Web. So if we go upper directory, we should see package, and then yeah, I think that's right. And then we want to copy those into the package directory. Boom. So why did I do that? We were making a change. We had made a change to this file. Yeah, and we changed prime to changed, and I think if I refresh this, it's still not going to do it. In fact, it won't even load at all because it's going to say, hey, the web server's not there. See, and now keep going up to compile and run the web server. .404s will fall back to. Oh, I remember this setting here. Wow, it took me a while to figure that one out. It's a single page app, and that means everything has to go through this one file. But web servers will normally try and find the file name that you're after. Yes, it says changed. Okay, we've mastered the ability to develop locally, even though we've got that one-line copy folder bodge, which I'll add to our seemingly growing to-do list. Right, so we can make changes. Great. Can I, like, what if I do this? Oh, I thought it was going to be really clever and drag both windows. I was well up for that, but nope. Okay, let's write some actual Rust then. So let's take a look at this. So we've got, what do we got? So we've got a render function at the moment, which from memory, we have one of these in every single one of our pages. And we're on the mersenne page, archive mersenne, archive mersenne. This makes sense. So what we're going to want to do is, I mean, I'm not going to be bold and delete all of that just yet, but we're going to want some sort of loop. So we've got some loops up here already. I'm not saying I'm just going to copy the code, but I am just going to copy the code. So we can loop through. Let's do a couple of things here actually. We're going to want to retrieve this function, and we'll save that into a variable in a second. Actually, let's do it now. Let dates. Now, one of the cool things about developing things in this Rust language, well, and most other languages actually, is it forces you to do good variable typing. So because scroll all the way up here. It'd be neat if I could minimize. Yeah, I can minimize the whole function, keep that out of our way. And actually, let's tidy up the screen slightly. What's this? Oh, this was the log thing that we decided we didn't need. So this function takes a variable and returns a string currently. Oh, I see. So you'd specify I want the 3rd date or I want the 5th date, and it'll return a string. That seems pretty useful. So I'm going to put n there for the moment, and I'm going to note this out because this is not valid. That is not valid Rust. Let's put a loop in here. So in Rust, we've already got an example of a loop up here. Really simple. I quite like the Rust syntax for looping as well, and if statements. Really quite tidy. So we can say we want to set a variable n, and I want it to have a start value and a stop value. In this case, just for the moment, I'm going to hard code it to 10 so that we can get this working and then figure out actually what that should be. And then we're going to loop through, making a call to this function. And then guess we could just start off with a div tag. So let's do that. So we're going to say we want a div tag, and inside that div tag is going to be a date, or rather 10 dates. It's all very well and good. But we're going to need something to store this. Not exactly the test-driven development I'm sure you're all hoping for, but bear with. Still getting there with Rust. So now we're going to want an initial variable to hold this. So this looks like a whole bunch of strings that gets returned, but it's actually not. We can see currently that, and you can't mix variables, by the way. So what I was doing there was I was seeing what kind of variable we're currently returning when we return all of this to be drawn. And in Rust, the function definitions specify a type of variable. So let's just say let HTML of, oh, didn't mean to do that, of type all of that. This is basically saying we've got a variable type here that's you know what, can I explain this quickly on the stream? No, I'll come back to it. If anyone has questions, can you make the working pane full screen with a slightly larger font? Yeah, certainly happy to do that, because we don't really care what's going on over here, do we? Let's do that. Good shout. Thank you, Bragit. I mean, that's your name. That's not me being nasty. You chose that name. And we figured this out earlier. We could zoom, can't we? So let's make it a bit larger. Control equals. Is that a bit better? Let me know if that's the right font size for you. And then I bet in a minute someone else is going to say, oh, that's too large. I want more lines on the screen. And you'll have to find it out in chat. Right, so HTML. We need to initialize this with a value. Let's try. You know what? I've got a feeling that this is not going to be as simple as I hope, because that's a macro. That's that might add a whole extra level of complexity here. Well, let's see. Let's see what we get. So HTML. So we kind of want to. I guess this is is this? Can we treat this like a vector? Can we treat this like an array? I bet we can't. I bet we really can't. But let's try. So you can, if it was a vector, then you can push to that, and that's a function call. I feel like that's probably going to error. Let's see how badly this errors. It's definitely going to error. Don't really like the. That's a bit more readable. There we go. Don't really like the layout that had. What else could we do? Okay, so in Rust, to return a function, what you do is, instead of, you might have noticed I've ended most lines with a semicolon to say, hey, I'm done on this line now. If you don't do that, then it will return the function, and then it'll probably error about the fact that all this code is never run. Let's see what happens when we recompile this. This is definitely going to error at least once, probably many times. Okay, there we go. Lots of times. I'll see if I can zoom in on that as well. That seems pretty good, actually. Zoom a bit more, and one more. There we go. So, unexpected token. So the first error we get is this is the Rust compiler at work. It's great. It tells you what it was expecting. It tells you what it found and exactly where it found it. Good stuff. And there's what, 5 different errors here? 3 different errors. So the first one is unexpected token div. So let's drag this over here. Line 99. Boom. As predicted, it doesn't like all of this code that I just left here. So let's get rid of all of that. But I'm not bold enough to get rid of it just yet, so I'm noting it out. It's lazy. Should just delete it. I'll do it in a minute. Let's compile. Okay, we've got less errors. We're down to 2. Not found in this scope. Fair enough. So I called a function. You can do this in other languages, but you can't do it in Rust. You have to specify where this function is. And this function is part of this module over up here. This function is inside this module. So, oh wow, I can't even remember basic syntax in Rust. I think that's what I want to do. Sorry, I've been writing other things like JavaScript most of the week, so my mind is suddenly having to convert back to writing Rust. What did we get wrong now? Function mersenne discovery dates is private. Okay, cool. So that means I fixed the first problem, which was it didn't know where the function was. Now it knows where the function is. Great. But by default, all functions are private in Rust. So to fix that, I mean, there's a whole discussion around whether it should be a public or private function and whether this is good or bad code. But that aside, just to get rid of the error for now, let's just make it public. Cool. That seems to have solved most of the issues. No method. No, this I think is going to be the tricky one. No method name push found for type seed DOM types node message in the current scope. So this is where I've tried. You know, I've tried to use HTML as though it was an array or a vector, and it's not. It's something far more complicated than that. It's actually a bunch of DOM information, right? It's a bunch of HTML. So how do we stick a bunch of that together? That's a really good question. So I'm probably going to have to check the manual. So Rust WASM is the thing we're using. And there's a particular website I was using for this. Which I'm now going to have to find again. That's what you really all want to see, isn't it? Me figuring out where on the internet I saw a website. Okay, actually, I don't think it's this one, but what's this? This is telling us about WebAssembly. I'm pretty sure if I look in my... If we look in our cargo file, so this is the package manager for Rust. So within the Rust language, oh, hang on, this marketplace has extensions that can help with TOML files. I mean, I'm up for that, because at the moment that's just a single page of one color and I don't like it at all. Yes, please search the marketplace. Better TOML 0.32. Well, that looks very readable. 250,000 people downloaded it, and of those 250,000 downloads, 4 people gave it approximately 4 stars. What could go wrong? Reload required. Alright. Is it gonna work? Is something gonna break? No! It does work and nothing broke. Cool. Now it's in colour. Now in Technicolor. So, dev dependencies. What have we got? What I'm trying to say is I'm using a third-party library to generate this HTML. And there it is. Now I remember. This chap, David O'Connor. I'm using his library. So if we go back to here, go back to his GitHub repo, he has probably got somewhere, he's probably got an example of what I want to do, which is stick 2 of these things, 2 of these bits of HTML together. Something you can do very simply in JavaScript, and I'm sure we must be able to do very simply in this language as well. Why use this? Why not use this and stick with JavaScript? Why not to use this? Wow. Rapid development, breaking changes. Here I am trying to build something with it. Fair point. Okay, so here's some code that doesn't involve a loop though. That's a shame. Maybe, but it does involve an if statement. So I'll try and explain this problem. So we're creating a div tag. And they're, in this case, they're including some style, and then just with the power of a comma, they add a h1 tag, they add another div tag, and that sticks together just fine. And you end up with well-formatted HTML at the end of it. But in our case, I've kind of just thrown this for loop in, and I'm not really sure how to bolt these things together. So going back to here, the fact that they've put an if loop. What? That's not a thing. Sorry. The fact that they put an if statement in here, an inline if statement. I wonder if we can do something similar with a loop in Rust. This is me being really amateur with Rust now. Rust. Oh, I can't believe I'm typing that into Google. That's not a thing in any language I've ever heard of. Returning from loops, loop expressions. Because what this could be is I might be fundamentally missing something with the Rust language. That's not doing any turning. So we're already using an iterator loop. And I guess this is the logic I'm trying to follow, right? I'm setting an initial value on line 87, HTML equals an empty div. I'm looping through, in this case n is 1 to 10, but they've got 1 to 11. And in this case they're just adding the numbers together. In our case I'm trying to stick some things together. I wonder if I can do something else. I wonder if I can do a vector. Worth a go. Let's vector of type. Pretty sure I can do that. That feels wrong. We'll find out why. It's not the right color for a start, actually. Maybe it's a capital. Maybe that's it. So that's an empty vector. Save. Nothing has immediately thrown any errors. I'm sure we had this, so it was compiling in real time. for. Let's not worry about that now. Let's compile it manually. Expected one type argument. So I think that's because I have to specify what goes inside the vector. So Rust vectors. That's another way of doing it. So in this case, they've specified. Oh, interesting. Okay, they haven't troubled themselves with creating a type. Well, sorry, creating a type, specifying a type. So I'm going to borrow their example. Get rid of that. So what mut does is it makes the variable modifiable or mutable. So by default, you know what, that probably threw it as well. Hang on, let's just change that. So I don't think this is the error, but it's worth just double checking because the compiler didn't actually give us this particular error. But we didn't specify this as mutable, so therefore we didn't say that we didn't say, hey, it's okay to change this variable at any point. Pretty sure it'll error with the same problem. Yeah, it does. Okay, it was worth double checking though. Let's go back to this. First of all, this is going to error, but let's see if it errors based on what I've done here. No, it doesn't. Good. See if that errors with an empty vector. No, it doesn't. Obviously, it's still erroring about this HTML push nonsense down here. That's fine. But what I've done, this may or may not be okay, is I've created an empty vector, and I know that you can push to a vector. Great. So now what happens if I return vectors or vector? And you know what? The fact that it says vector is just silly. We have types already. Let's call it what it contains rather than its type. Recompile that. So this is saying that in our function definition, we said we've got a render function, it's public, and it will return a variable of type, well, see DOM types node message. That means it's going to return a node type that exists within DOM types that exists within seed. But it's found standard vector vector because I created a standard vector vector and then tried to return that. So it's essentially saying you returned a thing that is not the thing you said you were going to return, so therefore I'm not going to compile. Which fair enough. But what are we going to do about it? Honestly, I think we might have to go back to that chap's example. Thought it was in my history. No, it's not. So yeah, so David O'Connor has an example here, but no looping. They must have considered that you would need to loop. There must be an example here somewhere. They've got an examples folder. That seems like a solid place to start, doesn't it? I don't really know what any of these are going to be, so let's have a look at these, see what we can find. So librs is the default Rust file. the one it opens first, so it makes sense that these examples only have, because they're small, they only have the one file. They've called it lib. We've got one somewhere as well. Yeah, there it is. So they're using macros. They're pulling in this David person's crate, and they're using Rand and some of the seed library as well. I mean, they have just pulled the crate in, so that makes sense. They've created a structure of car. Great. I'm not going to read every line of code here. I just want to see an example with a loop. That's all I want. Again, here's a view. No looping. Just a div tag with some styles and another div tag in it. Interesting. What's this? No, that's just... And that's part of the bootstrap of using seed. So, go back. There's another example. So that was something called animation frame. Probably animating a car based on the name. Where else would we see? Okay, so again, div tags. They've managed to throw an if statement right in the middle of... It's a pretty big if statement as well, right in the middle of this macro. Could have a look at the issues. I'm not going to go through... you know what, that might be... Sorry, this just reminded me. I came across a similar bug the other day where one of my variables, it all compiled and it seemed to work, but one of the elements were just empty, essentially. Which sounds like a repeat of this issue that this person's found. Except I didn't file a ticket, I wasn't as good as this person. What have we got in here? I mean, no loops, right? Shame. That's pretty good. One day later and he fixed it. Okay, so I don't really want to search through all of their documentation. We could have a look and see how I've dealt with this problem elsewhere, because I am sure maybe on the index page I was looking at adding a loop. I mean, that's not a loop, is it? That's just all manual. Oh, I don't want to have to go through without a loop. It was bad enough on the news page. On the mersenne page, there's like 50 numbers here. Let's search through his issues. Not just open ones. Let's have a look at all of them, because I bet someone else has run into this and at the very least asked for some help. No, none of these look like the right ones. Okay, if anyone else spots it, please do shout out. What else? Let's go back to this error. So we're saying expected seed DOM types node found struct standard vector. Okay, so the other thing we could do is we could presume that fair enough, there's no, like, this will start erroring again. This will start erroring again, guaranteed, because it's not a vector. We've changed back to this type. But I wonder if we can look through his library Let's have a look. Look in his. Somewhere. Yeah, so somewhere he's got this node feature defined. It's got to be in here. DOM types, maybe? Values? Oh, well, not that noise. Okay, there's got to be a way to stop that. And sound settings. I think this just takes me back here to here, doesn't it? Sound control panel. No, that's here. We've got to do something about that noise. It's deafening me. It's definitely deafening all of you. Maybe it's under like theme or something. Sounds change system sounds. Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you for loading the window behind the giant window. Windows, let's go with no sounds. Why is that not an option? Anyone? Ah, there it is. It is an option. What are we looking for? We're looking for no sounds. Let's hit apply, and pretty sure. Let's just conduct a test. Control so find. Doesn't find anything, and it doesn't make that horrendous noise. We've solved that problem. Good. Someone says, should line 92 be a div? In what way? So line 92 is currently div macro, which we're trying to push onto HTML, but push isn't a function, so this is just not going to work. Shame. So I was going to see what functions this HTML, this node does have. So I was trying to find it in this chap's library. And then we were fixing the sound, which we've now fixed. Right, we're back on track. So let's keep going through here. Search, let's just search in here as well. In this repository, find node. Oh, that's interesting. An accidental breakthrough, perhaps. So that's line 126. Amazing. There's a fly in here. And it's gone. Search for that. So what this is saying is we can probably say HTML dot so instead of element we're using HTML dot children dot push, and there's a tricky double bracket I've just introduced. Fixed. And let's see if that works. Sorry, I know there's a question in chat. I'm just going to try this and then I will get back to you. No field children on type C DOM types node message. Fair enough. I think I'm using the wrong thing here. I think this needs to be L or something like that. Amazing. There's the world's smallest fly. Go away. Go away. I'm streaming. There's like 10 people watching this. You're on the stream. Go away. Madness. Right. Did I just chance that with the L? I think I might have done. Expected one type argument. Okay, so it's essentially saying that's not a type. I think we can find an example. Sorry, this is ringing a bell now. I think we can find an example where we don't need this vector thing. Where we create a new element. So we might even find one in this file. Yeah, I wonder if we can do this. So that's node element. Is that as simple as saying not a type? Try using the variance enum. I feel like we're onto something here. Oh, it's even look at that. This is what I love about the Rust compiler. It's told us what to use. So it said, Craig, what are you doing? 0 point to what you're doing. Try specifying seed. Oh. Well. Oh, I didn't do what it said. It said to include prelude in there. And let's see what that does. Probably going to complain about the element, not a type. Okay, so this is prelude tag. Could we do this? Whoa, lots more errors. Expected enum seed dom types tag, found enum seed dom types node. Alright, well let's try node. You can tell there's some serious amateur trial and error going on here. But, okay, fine. I'm going to go back to creating a new element because I'm sure there's an example of that somewhere. We thought we had a good Google search going as well. Fact. Let's check out his repos. I suspect. There we go. Look, seed homepage. Great. Really wish he'd linked to where the seed homepage is. Seed homepage. Seed.rs. Yeah, I remember this one now. Seed.rs. Seed-rs. Yeah, and he gives loads of examples of stuff. This is what I was looking for. I'm pretty sure somewhere here he gives an example of just creating a vanilla element. And look, he uses a vector here, so lowercase v on vector. And it seems a vector of elements created separately. You know what? Maybe we were good. Maybe we were okay with the vector approach. I'm not deleting anything I'm doing here. I'm just noting it out because I'm and we'll remember this children thing as well. We'll remember that line of thinking because I don't think that's necessarily a mile off the mark either. So it's back to being a vector. It's a lowercase vector. It's mutable. And look, he gives an example of using push. Let's try this. What have we got? Expected seed DOM types node message because of return type. What if, and this could be the laziest thing in the world to do, but what if we said we're definitely going to return a div? Oh, that looks like it might compile. That looks very much like it's going to compile. Okay, let's see what we're dealing with now. Oh, and we had all those jobs running as well, didn't we? Oh, we can check on those in a second. So let's check our local file. Nothing's changed. Of course nothing's changed because we had that other annoying thing that we had to do where we had to copy these things. I've done that. Compile. It'll compile super quick this time because it's all cached. Refreshing. Haha! Okay, it's doing something. It's not doing something particularly useful, but that is now definitely looping through some dates. Look at that. Fantastic. So now we can start to pick apart. I'm really pleased with that. That's great. We've got a loop working, everybody. So now let's add the title back and some spacing. Let's you know what, I don't like doing things twice, and I'm fully aware that this is a frustrating hack that I've got going on, but at least let's turn this into a single line that we run. So what were we doing? We were running a copy of package. Oh, what's wrong with that? Copy of package star into package, and then we're CDing into something. I feel like that should be done in a different order. Actually, that might have been an inopportune thing to do. Let's quickly copy. What? Oh, we have to do this mark thing. This is something else we need to fix. We're going to fix this. We have the technology. We're not going to fix it right this second, but we will. Let's go back. Okay, so what this command is doing is it's CDing into the big primes folder and then disappearing off the edge of my screen to confuse me. So yeah, CDing into the big primes folder. Then we are copying. You know what? I think once it's in the big primes folder, we don't actually want that. Then it will copy everything in the package folder into is the smallest of small flies antagonizing me slowly on this stream. Then that might work actually. Let's try that. Oh, I've just moved my chair, haven't I? Have I just I moved out of position on the stream? No, we're good. Okay, all good. Good stuff. Oh, no rules expected. The token div. What did I do? Oh, I missed a comma. That's not too bad as crimes go. Missed a comma. So compiler crimes. Don't commit them. Back over here. This should probably just auto refresh. Maybe I don't have to click anything. That'd be neat. Didn't do it. Why didn't it do it? So that should have set a title of the mersenne numbers, some breaks, and then it should have given us the HTML. And I guess actually we could probably do ourselves a favor. Unbelievable. I am literally being chased by the world's smallest fly. Every now and then it just comes into my vision. I might have to end the stream in a bit if it won't go away and see him out the window. No, okay. What did I just do? Sorry, I did something. I didn't say what I was doing. I removed the div tag. Right, it's not needed. We've already got a div tag up here, so we're already meeting the requirements here to respond. Return with a HTML element. Let's see what's going on. So let's run there. Oh, is that what I want to do? CDing. Then I want to copy package, everything from package into www.package. Then I want to compile. Nearly got him. Nearly. Unbelievable scenes. Right. Right. Oh, it worked. I'm not sure at what point it worked. I think it worked before I'd even refreshed the page. Okay. So now we just need the rest of it. So we can see here, what are we doing? Creating a table. So let's do this. Let's create a new table. Oh. And within that, oh, I did that. I should have tabbed. So create a new table, and within that, we've that's some horrible old style HTML. We can replace that for sure. I think where else I would already have done that. Maybe the Fibonacci page. Somewhere I would have included some attribute code. I can't do this from memory. I have to look up how I included attributes before. So okay, so I just add that as an argument. So if I go back to the mersenne page, so we've got the table, and the first thing is a call to attributes, and we want our class to be set to, when I say class as well, so in this case it's creating a HTML table element, and it's going to set the attribute, the CSS class, to, in this case, mersenne table and text, which I'll show you in a second, but it'll give some styling to it that exists within our CSS file that is buried in our www folder. So we've also got this CSS file. So somewhere in here, if I search, we should see, yeah, there we go. We have a mersenne table which will set some background colors and some paddings and take away the border and all sorts of nice things. Good stuff. Let's take that out. That's where I copied it. I was adding a link on another page apparently. And then we don't need to worry about cell padding, cell spacing, or border, because that's all handled within here, within the CSS rule that will get applied. So now we have the table body, and within that we're going to throw the HTML. I think I'm going to stop there for a second and just recompile that, see we're all good. No rules expected. This token in This token in macro. Cool. What did I do wrong? Did I miss a comma? Wow, it's the second time today. I don't know if anyone's keeping count. Right, refresh that. There's a lot going on here, isn't there? That's a bit better. So now if I inspect this, I should see that it hasn't done anything that I've asked it to. Wow, okay, that's disappointing. So it's completely ignored the table and the T-body. I'm going to refresh this, see if that's improved things. No. I wonder if compiling it a second time is necessary. I wonder if one of these commands is not doing what it should. Just quickly read through all this output as well, see if there's anything here like could not copy or warning or a couple of optional dependencies we're ignoring. I'm not worried about those though. Inspect this. Oh, there we go. So for some reason we are needing to compile twice. That's never a good time to never a good time. It's never a good thing. If we're having to compile twice, so it means one of the commands on our compile line is not quite right. Maybe it's taking a moment for those files to copy, and then when it compiles, it's compiling against the old copy. That would be my guess. Something weird going on with this Linux Windows blend that we've got here. But we've proved that the table and the T-body are there, so that's fine. We can carry on. Now we want a... Well, what do we want? Oh, we're missing something. We are missing something, okay. We're missing this entire TR, so... Let's add... I have an opportunity to get this fly, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. I missed it. And again. So this is... I'm convinced. Okay, maybe there's more than one. That's not good, is it? You never want that on a stream. Like The Exorcist or something. Right. I keep sidetracking myself. This is terrible. This is terrible viewing for all of you. Let's sort this out. Let's get a TR in here. Right. I want a table row. Yes. And I guess actually for this first one we can hard code this because it's the titles. No one's going to judge us for hard coding the titles because you kind of have to. What do we got going on here? We've got widths. So let's open up a TD. Oh, and again we're gonna. Oh, I wonder if that's valid. You know, I genuinely don't know if this is valid HTML5 to specify a width on a column. I wonder if you now have to do that via CSS. Let's see if it works, and then you can fix it afterwards. So we're going to set the width to 70 inside of our attribute. What am I doing? I've missed a huge chunk here. Let's fix this. It's not what we want. That's what we want. So we're adding a TD. And we want that TD to be bold. Curious. Not quite sure if the color is white or yellow there, which might mean that bold is actually not a available macro. So let's just see what we end up with. Oh, or of course I could use the correct syntax. And then it might work. So, guess we just want to do all of that again. Digits, oh no, prime, let's grab one of those. Digits. And discovered. Oh, apparently we have a downloads. I'd completely forgotten this page has a downloads set of links. Let's copy that. Get rid of these. Oh, haha, nearly committed the comma crime again. Think I was momentarily thinking, oh, that needs a comma, but I think it doesn't. It's just the last in this list. Let's see if it compiles. And let's see if it needs compiling twice. So that didn't work. I wonder if we can is that like a Linux command for just pausing for like 2 seconds? Linux command line. I can't type. Linux command line. Pause. 2 seconds. Give me exactly what I want, Google. Oh, apparently I wanted a small dog to be looking over at me through an advert. Good stuff. Really do something about all these adverts. Wow. Sleep, of course. Sleep would make sense, wouldn't it? So what we're saying is we're cding to a directory here. We're going to copy everything in package to www. Too many W's. Package directory, and then we're going to pause for 2 seconds. This is unbelievably hacky, by the way. This whole line is just paving over problem. Just ignoring command not found pause. Really? We don't have pause? Can I install pause? I feel like I shouldn't need to. Yeah, I could install it, but surely there's a default. Yeah, sleep. Did I say pause? I said sleep. I typed pause. Sounds like I need some sleep. There. That's doing its thing. And let's see if that gets rid of that whole problem we were seeing. I feel like we can close some of these windows. Rust lang, get rid of that. Local development, refresh. Wait, that did something. Something occurred. So we've got our bold titles now. Oh, you know what? I didn't pay attention to what I was doing there, did I? I did not pay attention at all. Luckily, we've still got the live site here, so we can have a look at these widths. I'll tell you what, though, I think it's completely ignoring those. If I maximize that, I just feel like they're all the same width. If I inspect this. Computed. Sorry, I realise you probably can't read this, but that's saying it's about 200 pixels wide, so I don't think we need those widths. I don't think they add anything. Just get rid of them. Code's a bit tidier as well without them. Let's see if this works first time. It's compiling away. Oh, here I am just waiting on the live site. That's never going to refresh. Right. Look at that. It's still got a width of 70. Refresh. Inspect. Still got a width of 70. Really need to figure out why we need to compile twice. I mean, it will be nothing to do with the compiling. I have every reason it's to do with files not updating quick enough. Oh, with that I've just realized why. So this will work because we've run the command twice, but fine, it's worked. But the reason that we need to run this twice is because I've put the copy in before the compile, and I think what we need to do, so if I get rid of this sleep command, is we've got our rust backtrace wasm pack build for release here, so that's the command that compiles. We want to take this copy command and then we want to paste, and then we can get rid of this. Oh no. Check that runs. Yep, that seems to run. Okay, let's refresh to check that still looks good. Yeah, it's unchanged. And let's keep going. So I think I can just kind of delete all of that, right? solve that problem. Let's remind ourselves. So we've got a couple of functions in here. So the first one contains two of the columns, I think. What have we got here? So 2 to the power of something very large. But I guess this starts off with the smaller entries, so I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page to find those. So the first one is 2 to the 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the 5. So we should see 2 to the 3, sorry, 2 to the 2, 2 to the 3, 2 to the 5. Oh, and this is digit length. Oh, it actually tells us here, of course. To do, complete this list all the way up to 50. Well, as exciting as I'm sure that will be to do on stream, I'll probably do that off stream. But let's at least get it working. Let's get it calling this function. So nth mersenne prime. You can see I've already made it public, so we'll have no trouble calling it like we did earlier. We did have some trouble calling it earlier. Where we're tacking HTML onto here, there's a string of things to fix here. So this HTML really should be giving us back rows, entire rows. It shouldn't just be slapped into there. It doesn't make any sense. So let's change these to rows. So instead of a div, we want a row, and we're going to want a couple of TDs. Wonder what the deal is with the layout if I just do that. So I've changed it, so we've got a new row and we've got a couple of columns. Gonna take oh wow, I've forgotten the word. Gonna take this. The scope, that's what I'm trying to say. The module is defined all the way at the top of this file. Module is mersenne utils that has these two functions inside. So module function call, and let's have a quick look. Oh no, it's this one. Well, what is this doing? This isn't necessarily what I was expecting. This is, I feel like this is actually, of course, not used on this page. It's used somewhere else. So, and now I'm just trying to use it as though it was built for this page, but it's doing something a bit more complicated. It's not just like our first function was just returning the nth row. Give it 2, it gives you the second row. This looks like it's actually performing some kind of primality check. In which case, I think we need to take this out. And instead of saying nth mersenne prime, so this is mersenne discovery dates. Let's take a copy of this. And let's create another function. So this function, I'm going to make it public and its function. This is mersenne. It's just mersennes. This is a list of the mersennes. And I think we can copy the same arguments as we had before. So where this is expecting us to say, hey, which mersenne do you want back, we can just copy the same definition, and we can say, again, we're going to return a string. It's just going to be a bit of text that gets returned, and we can specify, yes, I've copied and pasted this. I think we can borrow what we're doing up here. So instead of mersenne's discovery dates, we're just going to specify mersennes. And more than that, what we were doing up here is we were saying, hey, this vector of vectors, give me the nth row, and actually I only want the first thing in that row. So in this case, each of these has only got one element, and then there's a neat bit of Rust code that essentially says, and you can have it. I don't need it again. I am not going to cover that on this stream, but ownership in Rust is very, very interesting. It's the one of the, well, it is, I think, unique to the language. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we want to return the whole row, not just the first element. So in this case, we're going to return a vector, and that means this is probably going to error. In fact, I'm going to compile this and show that it'll probably error. This should be, yeah, so we've said, hey, this should be a string, and then we've told it, but you're going to get a vector, which I imagine it's not best pleased about. So we can say you're going to get a vector. That works better. Expected string, but found integer. So where's that? So now we are just trying to read one of the rows. And you can see where that might not function as we expect. So saying n is a string, a borrowed string at that, and it needed to be an integer. So what you gonna do about it? I think this might be, no, we can't convert. Yeah, you know what? Expected a string but found an integer. Oh, you know what? We're calling the wrong function. We just created a whole new function, didn't we, called mersennes. So we should be using that. There I am trying to fix a different error because I was confused by what the compiler was telling me, but if I'd have read it properly. So we've got less errors now, I think. This error originates in a macro outside of the current crate. No method named update found for type standard vector usize in the current scope. So that's because when we called this code here, we've essentially said give us a row, and the td macro is expecting text. So that's not going to work. Get rid of that now as well. So we can say let it be mutable. Mersenne equal this. And we know that's going to be a vector. So I can say, for the moment, just give me 2 TDs. One with each value in. Let's see what we get. Okay, no method named update found for type usize in the current scope. Yep, fine. I vote that we take a moment to see how our build is going. Oh good, it's finished. So now robots.txt is built, and from earlier it should have now gone live, should have been deployed. Yeah, this was the merge from earlier. So now if I go to the live site, sorry, I know I'm jumping around, but I mean, I even got bored listening to myself, so let's see what we've got. Oh, it didn't work. That's not what I expected. I expected that to have gone live. No. So a quick look at the log. See if it had any issues, any secrets it wants to tell us. So looking at this, Looking at this, it should have run. Yeah, you can see it uploading here. Oh, but you know what? I can see what the problem is. It probably just didn't upload robots.txt. It's probably never specified. So, when we're done with what we're currently doing, we can come back to that and correct that. So, no method named update found. No method named update found for type usize in the current scope. So, mersenne 0 is returning a usize and not a string. Trying to think what the quickest way to convert that to a string is. I've got a feeling it's really simple. I think it's just toString. I might be oversimplifying it there. Might be a... Huh. Okay. So, remove the... Oh, I can remove the MUT. That's what it's saying. It's saying we don't actually change it. Each time it loops through, it just creates a new one. So, I think someone may have just followed me. That was a super loud alert. Thank you. Thanks for following. I will definitely adjust the volume on those alerts. That's startled me back to being awake. Hey, that compiled, right? Let's go back. See where we are. Refresh. Great. Okay. I mean, everything's in the wrong column. It all needs to be shifted across one, but I think that's a fairly easy fix. I think we can just specify why do I do that. So I'll let you in on why I keep hitting the wrong characters and why those specific characters. I at one point went through a phase of having a Dvorak keyboard instead of a QWERTY keyboard. I don't recommend it. I do not recommend it. QWERTY is just fine. That's what I'm saying today anyway. Tomorrow I'll probably be like, no, Dvorak's the way to go. Faster typing speed. It was pretty quick to learn actually. It was a few weeks of search and destroy, but we got there eventually. Let's hit refresh on this. Okay. That actually worked quickly as well. That's surprising for this stream. It worked first time and it worked quickly. Amazing. So somewhere I hard coded a 10. Yes, remember earlier we hard coded this 10, so that's why we're only getting 9 numbers. Yeah, okay. Come back to that. I guess what I want to do is I want to go through all of the mersennes. I want to know how many mersennes I've got. I could hard code it, but that feels really lazy. Why don't we have this return all of the mersennes in one go? Why don't we do that? That seems like a better idea. Then I don't have to do quite as much faffing. So to do that, I would get rid of the semicolon because that says don't return this thing, but go to the next line and run that command. So I've got rid of it. So now it should return the entire of this. Got a feeling I could probably get rid of that because I don't need to set it. One thing at a time. So that's changed that function quite heavily. So now instead of retrieving a particular row, we're retrieving all the rows in one go. So let's put this here. And we no longer need to give it an argument. But that argument actually does need to be used somewhere. We did it again. we need to specify that down here because we're now having to specify that we need to specify the row somewhere. So now it's here. Let's see if that even compiles. I've probably forgotten something, not intentionally. Unexpected token. So this is back up in. Just get rid of this. Hide that for a second. Unexpected token. Oh, of course. Yeah, I've just left. No, I haven't left that. That's the end of the function. What's the issue here then? Maybe I don't need two owned. Oh, I know what it is. If we want to return this, we have to specify the variable. I don't think you can set a variable. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure why you would ever set a variable and try and return it at the same time. So I think this will work. I also think we can tidy this up quite extensively. A local variable with a similar name exists. That's because I used the wrong variable name. That'll probably fix it. Okay, that runs. Allegedly. Okay, so that's not broken anything, but it hasn't improved it either. So let's close that for a second. So now that we've got, I kind of want to make that plural because it's no longer singular. Turns all them as ends. So now I think we want to take this variable. I think we can use it instead of this 10, so we can say 1 all the way to mersenne's dots. I think, if memory serves, it's a call to a length function that all vectors have. Let's compile that. We'll know pretty quick. Okay, it's compiled, so I think we're probably good. I'd expect this to show the rest of the numbers on the page this time, or the rest of the rows. And let's also see if it automatically refreshes. It does. Okay, that's all the way up to 20. That is a significant improvement. I think on the live site, if I go to mersenne's, we start off with the largest as well. So there's quite a lot going on here. I haven't compiled, sorry, I haven't committed actually any code in a very long time, which is unbelievably bad practice, depending on your opinion. So I think before I make any other changes, let's make some commits. So we can say begin rewrite, or refactor is the right word, refactor hard coded table, HTML table into loop. First 20 elements, or 20 of 50. I mean, elements is a pretty nebulous term. Let's go with rows. Security reasons, it's therefore ignored. Not write new index file. So I had this the other day. And I think I ended up committing. How did I resolve it? I think I ended up exiting this, then seeing if I could commit. Nope. Okay. Just check everything's still good. Don't want to have broken any of my ability to compile. Yeah, that's still good. So once that's done, what do I want to do now? So that still compiles fine, but I can't do anything with Git. Let's just see if Git's set up on the here. It is. Okay, so can I do a Git commit? Can I commit? I go up a directory. Can I run a Git commit on, oh, I don't know, source, pages, archive, mersenne, and I want my message to be, pretty sure I just had that here, right? Did I have that saved? Yeah, I did. So I want my message to be this. Oh, it's not set up. Okay. So why, oh why is this erroring? Let's read this again. So this is saying that our git config file has a dubious owner of unknown, and for security reasons it is therefore ignored. Fix this, please transfer ownership to an administrator. Could not write new index file. That feels very much like, I don't know, a good excuse to restart this app, but I don't think it's going to fix the problem. I think we will still have this problem. Well, same problem, but even less information to go on. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I'm going to go with bad. Could not write new index file. So this goes back to our weird permission glitches that we seem to keep having. What do we want to do about that? I could set up git. I guess actually I could make local commits by setting up git. Let's do that. Global user.email. This is where I give out my email and receive vast amounts of spam, I'm sure. And git config -- global username and my name. Great. Back to my original request. Can I now commit? I can. Okay, so that let me commit. That's not too terrible. I guess that was allowed to make changes to the local file system, and in order to publish the branch, I push it to. Oh, you know what I could have done? I should have tried committing from within this application. Did I commit after the fork? So Greygit asks, did I commit after the fork? Yes, I did. I did. So I forked into the new branch that we created. And that should have been quite happy for me to then commit after that. Why did that not publish? Sorry, I missed that. That's silently error. Let's have a look. I think that might have just silently errored. Let's close some stuff because we have got a lot of things open. Close that. Go back to. We'll come back to that, sure. Let's go to a new tab. Go to code. So I don't know why that's saying publish branch because it did. It did publish the branch. Oh, I bet it probably can't even update its own cache. Probably doesn't realize that it's pushed. Anyway, so we've made a partial commit. Great. So the next thing we should probably do is get this order correct. I think it's going to be something reasonably simple. I'm not saying it's going to be this simple. I was wondering if it might just be reverse or something like that. That'd be pretty neat if it was. Let's have a quick search. Rust vector reverse. Might need one of their iterators, which gets a bit more complicated. How do you write a generic reverse? How do I compare a vector against a reversed version of itself? That sounds like a homework question. How do I compare a vector against a reversed version of itself? Anyway. Well, that's fairly easy, isn't it? There is indeed a reverse function. I guess the question then is, does it reverse it in place? Or does it return a reversed function? Hopefully it reverses it in place, because that would be neat. Oh, what? No, no, no. No, I did not mean to do that. That's going to have committed this file. That was muscle memory. So I think what I want to do is git undo last commit. I'm pretty sure we do something with the like head -1 or something like that. Yes. Cool. Okay, so it's git reset head. Git reset head tilde. And then I can do a look at git status, which works best when spelled correctly. And we should see that this is fine, and it's gone back to, yes, that not being committed, that code change not being committed. So this time think about what I'm doing, not just push things for the sake of it. And that's the command I want. Great. That compiled, which normally means in Rust everything's fine and everything will work. Head back to our local copy. Oh, well, it required a manual refresh, but that's now reversed, which is a small victory for us. I guess we need to do something with these download links, right? There's all these zip files. Does every single one have a zip file? So far. Down to M35. Oh, some of them it starts to have text files as well. Oh, and then it stops. What numbers does it stop at? Number 30. So 30 and above have a zip file. So we can put an if statement in here. If n is greater than or equal to 30, then do a thing. Bear with on that thing. Else do nothing. I guess we want an A tag. And if that A tag is going to need an attribute, can borrow that from down here. A tag attribute, and the attribute will be href, and the href will be all of this. And then we want it to, just say zip. And that might, there's a chance that might compile. But you know what, before we compile, kind of want to do a partial commit, because we got the reverse working, right? So we should commit that. So this is a good opportunity to learn how to do Partial git commits via the command line. What a treat, everybody. Only commit part of a file in Git. This was a question with a lot of upvotes from 2009. Stage this hunk, okay. Git add patch file name, P for short, and Git will begin to break down your file into what it thinks are sensible hunks. I mean, I would have called them chunks, but fine. Someone enjoyed that name, obviously. Git add -p file name. So let's go back up here. Excuse me. We have, what are we doing? We have a git command somewhere here. Git reset, git commit. So let's hold down backspace, get rid of our message. And this mentioned git add, not git commit. So we're going to do git add -p, which apparently breaks things into so-called hunks. Why they named it that, I don't know. No changes. I respectfully disagree, good sir. I mean, ... dash. So what's going on there? It's like it's forgotten. So this is in just ran git status to see that we needed to run a // because this file is actually above us in the folder. This looks like it's broken it. It hasn't seen that these two are unrelated. So say no. I only saw the one chunk. Unbelievable. Well, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to Control X, save it, and then I'm just going to use my git commit from earlier. So we've reversed. I mean, do we care that we reversed it? Not particularly. I guess the outcome that we care about is the largest numbers are at the top. So largest mersennes now at top of table. Or mersennes now descending in size. Good stuff. You should see that this goes away in a second. Did not match any files. Of course, this is the // problem again. // Now that green goes away. Now I can hit Control Z. Great. So now we're saying if n is larger than 30, e.g. for any of these numbers that are big enough to have a download link, we should specify a download link. And I guess somehow I'm going to want this not to have an hard-coded M44 in there. It's actually going to need to be the right number. We can grab that from somewhere else. I must have done this somewhere else. He says, momentarily perplexed at where he must have done this. We must have done this on somewhere like this. This is a pretty complicated page. We must have done it on the primes page. Boom. All of this code is going to be a bit that we need. Okay, I created a link. Simple as that, I guess. Created a link. So let's do that. So we can say zip download. In fact, there's going to be multiple downloads. So this is actually download zip. Would be this. And then I guess end to string. Did we decide that was a thing? I think we decided that was a thing. n2 string, and then .zip. And you might ask, well, this looks mighty complicated for a download link. What on earth is going on here? So, well, we're setting download zip be a link, and then we're creating a vector, an array, i.e. a collection of things. We're starting off our hard-coded URL. Then we're saying, can you also stick whatever number we're on? So say it starts off with 20, so it becomes M20. And we want to stick the zip on the end of there. And then what I want to do is convert this collection of three currently very separate things. So we've got this one thing, this is a second thing, and this is a third thing. I want to take all of them and collect them all together into a single thing. So download zip essentially then becomes a single chunk of text, which hopefully will work. Let's find out what happens. I don't know why I keep doing that. We should use Control R to search through our history. Oh, lots of errors. What's the WSL thingy in the bottom left? Asks someone. So this, so I'm using Windows. Sorry about that. But I want to use Linux, obviously. So Windows or WSL is a way of installing, I guess, like a native Linux, like a virtual machine, but I think it's slightly different. Directly within Windows. So here, this is Linux, right? Within this window, I've got apt. I've got I think it's Ubuntu 18.04 in here. You're a fellow Windows user. Okay, good. But yeah, that gives you the power of being able to use Linux in here. You can do it from. So I might regret opening up my store. I don't think it will give away anything in terms of vast amounts of personal information. But if you go to apps and search for, let's say you want Ubuntu, then these are the things you want here. This will let you install. Okay, in this case, I'm installing Ubuntu, but you could install, SUSE Linux, or is that how you pronounce it? SUSE? Not sure. Oh, that's not how you spell anything. Let's try that again. SUSE, yeah. You can install any version of Linux you want, and then yeah, it's available as an app, which I've just pinned to my start bar. And then yeah, this WSL thing here was a neat little add-on that we installed at the beginning of this stream. Oh, sorry, I'm over-explaining the wrong thing to you. Is it Visual Studio Code in particular? Is it a bridge for Visual Studio Code so it can actually operate on Linux file system? It is exactly that, yes. Sorry for over-explaining the wrong thing to you. So it's a plugin that we installed at the beginning of this stream. And now I can't remember suddenly how to get to plugins, extensions. So yeah, installed this search for WSL. I'm pretty sure it was this one. Yeah, so we installed this, and it was a bit of a risk. I've never installed it before, and I enjoyed taking the mickey out of the fact it had nearly 1 million downloads, but only about 18 people had actually rated it. But it seems to be pretty good. No problems so far. That said, I haven't probably used the full power of it, or I've got barely beyond the quick start. And then it gave us, close this. Yeah, so then when I click it, I essentially get this, so I can do things, I guess, like switch between branches, among other things. Showed this little log thing down here, but I haven't really used it for anything. Oh, that's pretty neat. I guess if you've got multiple Windows things, like multiple Linux WSLs going, then switch between them. Yeah, completely discovered it by accident on this stream. I think it just pinged up, visual code pinged up and said, you should install this. Cool. Good. I'm glad to have helped someone. If you figure out any awesome things, by the way, that you can do with it, do give me a shout. I'd love to know what tricks I'm missing. Right, that was a good diversion. Glad to have helped someone. Where were we? So we were trying to get this string thing working. Now I can't remember what we did. Did we compile? Did we do that? Did it moan at us? Oh yeah, that was right. We had loads of errors. Incorrect close delimiter. That is very true. So here we've got attributes being defined. And there should be, I think, a close square bracket. Now it's saying download zip is not found in this scope because I completely forgot to actually specify that this should be a variable. Let's try that again. You're using Atom, as in Atom processors, or the hang on. So you're using Atom, the editor. I haven't used that in a while. It was really neat. I did a bunch of tutorials at the place that I work using Atom. It's really quite cool. I haven't used that in a while. For some reason I switched to VS Code. I think it was peer pressure. The rest of the team was using it. I said, Craig, you should use VS Code, and then I did. Haven't looked back, but yeah, I haven't checked out Atom for a while. It's probably come along quite a way. It was great when I used it. No complaints. Download zip. Expected. What are we doing here? Oh, okay. So this is a Rust thing. So it's expecting to be able to borrow a string variable, but we've given it the two, because we're using the toString function. It's not giving a borrowed variable, it's giving an owned variable, which is probably slightly beyond the scope of anything I'm going to cover on this stream, but it's one of the core concepts in Rust. And the quick way around it is you put an ampersand there and now it's borrowed. So why did I go to this page? That's the live site as well. I don't want to do that. Let's recompile. Cannot infer type. So consider giving download zip a type. Alright, we can do that. It's good practice for one. Should be a vector. Then it will probably say what kind of vector. Yeah. And I will immediately go, good question. I'm not sure what kind of vector it is. No, hang on, it's not a vector. It starts off as a vector, but we're turning it into a string. So perhaps this is as simple as saying it's a string. And before I keep guessing my way into oblivion, let's just see what we did before. Yeah, it's a string. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, you got it. You figured it out in chat before I did. Thank you. Lost my, there we go. Expected see DOM types node but found nothing. Right. Again, I think I got around this. So we've essentially got an empty else, which is, I'm pretty sure, not allowed in Rust. I think that's a Rust thing. It's good practice to always have something in your else. What we can do, I think there's such a thing as an empty element, so I think we can just return one of those. What that will do, guess for the moment, let's cheat. I just want to see this working. Let's just put an empty span in there. Okay, that's compiled. So manual refresh required. Oh, but no downloads. That's a shame. Have a look at one of these. So I guess there's a few possible reasons for that. The first one is n might never be greater than 30. Hang on a minute, of course n's never greater than 30. We've only got the first 20 elements here. Alright, for the purposes of this test, let's say greater than 10, even though we know those links aren't going to work, just to check that this, works, like the code that we've written works. Let's go here. Great, okay, so that's working. I'm reasonably sure if I click on one of these it's going to error, yeah. But if it was actually M30, yeah, so that downloaded M30, which is going to be a huge zip file because those numbers get quite large. So, great, that works. Let's put that back to 30. And I guess we could do something a bit smarter than this. We could say download. So instead of this else just being a span, perhaps it should be a text. But actually, let's stick with good practice. Let's commit our changes. So git commit. We can say zip downloads, zip download links now work for large mersennes. Oh, so I'm also used to using Vim. So every now and then I type :WQ to write and quit out of a Vim session that I'm not actually in. Okay. So that's committed. Good stuff. We've got this span. What was I saying we were going to do? I was saying we should replace... No, we shouldn't replace anything. We should have a text download. And that's as simple as adding that. And as simple as copying that, placing this span, excuse me, and adding txt, changing that to text. I feel like there's should probably offer a download other than zip nowadays. I guess it's still universal, but 7-zip's pretty awesome. I think that's my favorite compression engine. Compression compiler. Compiler's the wrong word. Archiver. Yeah. Favorite file archiver. Let's refresh. So all of these. If I click on any one of these, I think it should work. Okay, that's pretty good. Looking good. Even the smallest one, yep. So let's commit that. Let's commit that change. Too much. Deleted too much. So text downloads now added. I'm not going to type WQ. I'm going to hit enter. There we go. To take this to, oh, hang on, what happened there? I have to go to the end and hit enter. Yes. So that's looking pretty neat. We've got some code here that we never used, so let's get rid of that. To do complete this list all the way up to 50. I think to do first of all would be this function here. That's what I'm looking for. Sorry, long pause. I was like, where's the code? We should not have this huge duplication of vectors. Like one of these can be removed. Let's cut down our code size. Let's just commit the change. Just check the change. I've already forgotten what the change was that we've made. Let's just look in source pages as well. What's the change? Oh yeah, we removed some noted out code. Great stuff. Now I guess there's probably a few things we could do here. Let's do the most profitable thing first. So here I can see I'm using this mersenne function. So in this function that I know is not used on this page, it's used somewhere else on the site. I think vector usize. I think if so I'm just going to specify the type of it because we did it before, so probably do it again. I reckon I can delete all of that now. So what am I doing? I was just going to keep pushing up, I think, until I found something remotely. Oh, wow. I think I might be getting tired. Failed to resolve. Use of undeclared type or module mersenne utils. That's a fair point. We're already in mersenne utils, so I don't think we need to do that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we can just do this. That looks like it's going to compile. So yeah, you don't need to specify the module if you're already inside the same module. Makes sense. Let's just check the page still works. Does, and I happen to remember like this page was powered by the function that we've changed. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. That's rubbish. It's this page, which still works. It's not. So yeah, so it's doing a check to see if something's a mersenne prime, and it's not. I think 31 is a mersenne prime. Yeah, it's the third. So if I refresh that, cool. We can be fairly sure we haven't broken anything. I mean, I should probably write and run some more unit tests. Running them would be a good idea. So that got rid of a lot of code. I think we can commit. We should commit that. Let's have a look. Git diff. So we can say we replaced git commit refactored to reduce duplicate code by quite a bit. Oh, I nearly did WQ. I need to not do that. Oh, and then of course I move one character to the left and that all falls apart. It tries to add a whole new line in there for no reason. So where are we? Okay, so that was the big profitable thing, to get rid of loads of code. I want to believe we don't need to specify this variable anymore. I think I can get away with that. Don't know if that's good practice, but it's less code. I genuinely don't know if that's good practice. It's probably not. You know what I mean? It compiled. Compiled, and it's still. Oh, did that still load? Yeah, that's still working. So we're good. I want to find out, do I need this to owned? Might not need it. Already be owned. Cool, that compiles. There's even less code. I love deleting code. think I prefer it more than writing it. So let's I nearly said let's compile that. No, let's commit that. Guess we removed unneeded variable. Removed superfluous. Is that how you spell superfluous? Oh, it's too long a word for this time of the day. Removed variable. It was an unneeded, unnecessary, unneeded variable from sense. But I'm gonna have to, can't easily copy and paste into this shell. Oh, that's a good point. Illumina, am I pronouncing your name right? I know it's got a 1 in there, but the fact that you've used WSL before means you might be able to help me with this. How can I easily copy and paste into this terminal? Because at the moment I keep going up here and going to edit, mark and copy and paste, and it's painful. Have you got any tips? Any suggestions? I feel like I should probably push that code as well. We go here, that should. Okay. So I think this page is pretty much ready to go. I just need to do that arduous task. And I could do it, but I think you'll all leave if I manually change 50 entries in a vector. Who wants to watch me change 50 entries in a vector? I guess we've got 20, so you just need to bear with whilst I do 30. Yes, let's see how patient you all are. So I've just realised actually this isn't quite right at the moment. So before we get into that, this has got a superimposed bit of HTML that we're not doing. And if I look on the if I look on the public site, the number is good, the digits are good, the discovered is good, the download, I guess there's an overlap here, but I think we should just switch from text to zip at some point. I don't think there's any drama to be had by keeping both, or not keeping both. But yeah, that's just wrong, isn't it? So let's fix that. So many, you know what, and whilst we're here, I'm also going to delete the first 19 of these numbers. Get rid of them. Good stuff. Go back up to here. So much scrolling. Okay. We've scrolled all the way up. We actually, okay, so here, yes. How does this work? So this number we're displaying, 2357 is actually the power to which we're raising it. So inside of the TD, this should be using a sup tag, which takes care of that. Then we want a 2 appearing outside of that super text, and we want a -1. That's the other thing we're going to want. Yep, fairly sure. Let's compile that. I really like this caching all of those dependencies now, and we don't have to watch it build 98 odd packages. It's just the one. Refresh. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So 20 should be 24423 minus 1, 24423 minus 1 with the 2 at the front and the -1 at the end. Cool. Let's check our code changes. Ah, of course. I deleted a bunch of stuff and I edited a bunch of stuff, so I should probably commit some things. And we were experimenting with that partial commit. Great, that works this time. Do we want to stage this? Yes. Do we want to stage this? No. So now if I run git commit -m, notice I haven't specified a file. I think, let me just run git status actually, check that the right things are staged. Yep. So now if I run git commit -m, fixed mersenne prime column, values. Guess they were incorrectly laid out, weren't they? They weren't part of a formula. Fine. Every time. Well, maybe not every time, but I need to go. I need to remember I need to go to the end and hit return. Okay, so now again I can do a partial commit, and I can say, yeah, stage this one. Then I can do a commit of what's left, and we removed some, or about half of the noted out table. Hard-coded table. Great. Let's have a look at git status. I feel like I want to commit this package lock as well. Just going to say that's built with the latest dependencies. Oh, and we established we can't do a git push from here. And we discovered we can't really use this at the moment. This is essentially broken, so let's just close that. I want to believe that I can do a push from within here. Looks like there's a button for it. Publish changes. Oh, this is not what you want to do on stream. You don't want to be entering your git credentials. Let's ponder on that one for now. I think, honestly, this might be a good place to pause for this stream. I think we've got to a good place. We have genuinely made changes to one of the pages, and then broke it again. No, let me just get the get that compiled again. We've genuinely updated one of the pages and removed a whole bunch of code that wasn't needed. We're not quite ready to deploy the page. We can do that next time round. In fact, I should be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. I guess that would be about 18 hours from now. Less than 18 hours? 12 hours from now? No, 12 hours from now is going to be like 6 in the morning. So, yeah. 18 hours from now, I think we'll pick up from where we left off. We'll get this page finished. Off stream, I will go through and do the arduous task of taking all of these values and putting them into the vectors. And then we can look at making those builds a lot faster, because they're horrendously slow at the moment. And getting some of this stuff live. There's like 4 or 5 outstanding pull requests now, and we need to get some actual live changes. We need to ship some code. On that note, see everyone or anyone tomorrow.